Hi guys, Brian here. Welcome to the gas station once again, and I have a really cool camera. It's actually kind of my new favorite toy right now. Well, it's one of my new favorite toys. The next video is going to be my other new favorite toy. But anyway, I have a bunch of new toys right now. But I showed you guys this very briefly in the video that I did from the New England Photographic Historical Society show. This is what I picked up there. This is a Hasselblad EL, and it's very similar to the Hasselblad V series, like the 500, 500C, 500CM, etc., etc. The difference between those cameras primarily and this camera is this one has a permanently built-in motor drive. Which I actually really like. I know you can get other motor drives for the other cameras, and that's cool. But honestly, this thing is big enough where if you're gonna have it, you might as well have a motor drive on it. I've kind of wanted an EL. I kind of think they're funky and cool. And I also like the fact that this is the camera, or a variation of the EL, is the camera that they brought to the moon. There's actually, from what I understand, 12 Hasselblad still on the moon, and what they did is they took the backs back to Earth, and they left the rest of the camera on the moon. So if anybody has a couple extra bucks to get up there, you can get some free Hasselblads. So anyway, but yeah, this is it's just a cool camera. I really like it. There was a steampunk festival near my house in Massachusetts, and I went down there, and I used this for the day, and I went out taking pictures. And I gotta say, and this really comes down to more than just the camera. It came down to the fact that I have really bad gas generally, and I've just bought a ton of equipment, and to the point where I think it has been detrimental to my photography, where I've been more worried, not really worried about gear, but I've just been sort of more thinking about gear than actually taking pictures. And so this is a camera I wanted to try out, and I bought a bunch of film for it, and I went out and I was shooting with it, and you know what, I probably had more fun going out and shooting this thing than I have in a long time shooting. I had just an absolute blast taking this camera out, and basically what it did was it reminded me when I was a little kid. I was 9 years old when I first started taking pictures, and my father gave me a camera, and at the time the camera seemed it seemed really heavy and awkward, and he was teaching me how to use it, and I really didn't know what I was doing, and blah 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 blah, but I still had fun, and that was the whole point. And in the end, basically what happened is I went out and just had fun, and this camera felt big and heavy, and it brought back all those feelings and emotions for me of when I was a little kid, and kind of like what got me excited and about photography. And I really just had a great time. I've had like the best time I've had in a long time shooting this camera. And to be honest, if any of the pictures come out, that'd be great. If they don't, actually at this point, I guess I really don't care. I think I'll be bummed, getting the processing done and having all that developed and have that not work out. But in the end, I just had a great time. So, and this camera inspired me to shoot more. And I guess that's probably, I think, what G.A.S is really about. Is if you find a camera that inspires you, just shoot it. Go out and have a great time with it. And I guess it really doesn't matter what it is, if it's film or if it's digital or whatever it is. I know this isn't really the full-on Hasselblad review yet, but I think this is an important point to make for people, and I think we all get wrapped up in the stuff. And I guess I wouldn't have this, and I wouldn't have had that enjoyment had I not had the G.A.S, but I guess the G.A.S brought me to the feeling that I wanted. This is what I guess the G.A.S is all about, is finding a camera that you can really bond with and enjoy. And like I said, I haven't had so much fun in a long time messing around with the camera. So anyway, I won't bore you with all my any further reflections of my youth, etc. But this is a very cool camera. Again, it's a lot like pretty much any other Hasselblad you're going to find, except for there's no winder, there's no manual winder, and it does have a built-in motor drive, so it'll advance the film every time you take a picture. I'm not going to go too deep. There's a lot of settings as far as mirror lockup and stuff like that that you can do with this camera. I can come back and do a very in-depth review on it, but I just wanted to give you guys a general overview of the EL. So, and this, like pretty much all Hasselblad cameras, is a very modular camera, which means it all comes apart. Not really apart, but you can take the portions of it off and you can strip the camera down and interchange different things. It does have a high shutter speed of 1/500th of a second. This lens is the original planar, which they call, I believe, is the C type lens, and it's an f2.8 80mm, which is the medium format standard lens. Everything I've seen on this lens is great. There is, the newer versions of this lens have the T-star coating. This does not have that, and from what I understand, this lens is fairly susceptible to flare. Like I said, I haven't had any of these pictures processed yet, but flare does seem to be the biggest issue. So to combat that, I have a very inexpensive hood on here. So, you know, so you can take the hood off there, and again, this is a cheapy, like, off-brand hood, but for me, a hood's a hood. It's something that's meant to be bashed into things generally. But yeah, so it's got the Carl Zeiss planar lens, and it's an excellent quality lens. Again, it doesn't have the T-star coating, but all in all, still a good lens. I have on here an older Hasselblad finder. This is a Prism Finder, so everything you see is going to be sort of as it looks. It came with the waist level finder, and I'll show you that. And kind of like this is kind of sort of how everything comes apart. Is there's a little switch here, and you slide that switch, and then the back will actually come off. And there's a dark slide here, which you would pull out, and then inside here is film. I actually have film in here now, and I'll show you another back as to how how those work. But the back comes off, and then here, and I don't know the difference between the EL and the LM. Supposedly the ELM has replaceable screens. This is an EL which also has replaceable screens. So I don't know if this one was modified. I'm not sure, but you can still make those changes. If anybody has that information, the difference between this one and an ELM, I'd really like to know it. I think this is a later model. This one was built in 1971 from the date check that I looked into. But anyway, so the focusing screens on this one are interchangeable, just like every other Hasselblad. Has the motor drive. Again, this is an older Prism, which I found very inexpensively and put on there. And this is the waist level finder, which goes on to pretty much all the rest of the cameras that you'll see. And then again, I'll put on the back here, and that clips right in there. And then to focus, there we go, you open that up and you look down and everything is reversed, but you use this large focusing ring here. I don't know, I hope you don't see my ugly mug in this picture, but you focus here, and you know, you have the sort of backwards look to compose. So if you move left, I don't know, everything's kind of weird. So it does have a fine focus glass right here, so you would look in here and you can get your much finer detail in your focusing, and it is really a nice way to shoot, and you kind of hold it low and close to you, so you're definitely steady with the camera, and it really is a nice way to shoot. I was using this with a grip, which I'll show you in a minute, and this actually made shooting with the grip easy. So I was carrying the camera all day, so I didn't want to be you know, I didn't want to get tired holding this thing because it is pretty heavy. But so there you go. So there's the waist level finder that folds up right there. I've kind of shown you some of that with the Brana Cosenza. The lens is removable. Here, you press a button on the front and the lens comes off, and then again you line up the red dots, click it back into place, and again the lens releases right here on the front. Strap lugs on the side. This is the release to open up the back and insert new film in there, but then again the whole back does come off. So you would load up your film in here, place that in, and put it right onto the camera, and then when you're ready to shoot, you need to pull the dark slide out, and then you're ready to go. So there's really no on-off switch per se. You just cannot take a picture with the dark slide in the camera. So that's not going to be an issue at all. The camera does make an interesting sound with the, I'm going to take the back off because like I said, I do have film in here, but it does make an interesting sound with the motor drive. It's not exactly stealthy. It's got that Hasselblad noise and it's got the whir, which is definitely new, and like I said, not particularly stealthy, but it's got a really cool sound to it. And this is a leaf shutter in the lens. So the lens, the shutter is actually in here, and there's a second set of shutters in the back of the camera here. So these open up, and then the shutter in the lens does the actual work. So you can actually take a picture and take another picture, and that'll stay open. So as soon as you release it, and it'll then advance. So you can be a little bit more stealthy if you hold down the shutter button on it, and then kind of walk away and let the camera wind on as it needs to. But it's a 6x6, which is a square negative, medium format, 120 film camera. There are 220 backs, and there are, I think, there are different format backs you can get for it. The most common ones are the 6x6 square. There's some specialized backs you can get, which, you know, I'm just not going to deal with it. I like the 6x6 format. I really enjoy that. I love the look of it. And the really nice part about that is you don't have to move around the camera for portrait or landscape. It's all the same. So I really enjoy that. You know, there's a lot to the camera, to a Hasselblad. You kind of really got to learn how it works and what it does, and there's a lot of idiosyncrasies and stuff like that, and getting used to it. But once you kind of get into the hang of it, it's really fun, and it's definitely a process camera. It's a camera where you need to take the time and think about things, and it's definitely not a point and shoot. One cool thing I do like is that it has this Eevee exposure system, which apparently with the newer lenses, they're not set up like this. You can change the shutter speed and the aperture independently, and you can on this as well, but you have to do it with extra work. So this is based on an Eevee system. So while using a light meter, as there is no light meter built in, you need to change your Eevee value here. So if let's say I take a light meter reading and it says Eevee 12, I have to change and turn this knob to where it says Eevee 12, right? So let's see, I'll reset that here. So I would turn this, I'd press this lever down and move this to where it says Eevee 12, and it's going to set my aperture and shutter speed to Eevee 12, which would be f2.8 at 500th of a second, and then you can just turn it and it'll maintain that exposure value, and you would only be changing your shutter speed and your aperture value together. That locks those two together, so you maintain the same exposure value, but you can just alter your depth of field for what you need at the moment, which is kind of a neat setup, and I do enjoy it, and I still like using the Eevee system. So yeah, I guess the other accessory that I got for it is this. It's a hand grip, and this has got this cool quick connect setup here, and it's a left-handed grip. This camera is pretty heavy, so that's why it's got such a huge grip on it. So you screw this right into the camera. Let's see, I just want to make sure that's in there secure, and then you have this electrical connector which plugs in right above there. So you have your shutter is on the left-handed grip. So you put your hand right in the grip, and you use the shutter on the left-hand side, which is kind of nice for me. I'm a lefty, so that works out kind of well. The only kind of nasty thing about this grip is it's got this big knob on the bottom, so you can't really let the camera rest flat anywhere. You can set it sort of on its back like that, which is fine. And then the way I set it up is I have the hood on there, and I do like using the grip with the Prism Finder. So I'll take the waist level finder off and put the Prism Finder back on here. And it just slides right on, and then we put our back onto the camera, There we go. And so, yeah, I'm ready to go here. So I'm looking through here, and I focus, and I just get the standard split image, in the center, and I just compose my shot, and then I hit the shutter to take the shot. It's not taking a shot now because I have my dark slide in because I was a good doobie and didn't screw that up. So, so this is the sort of setup I was walking around with for, I don't know, 6 or 7 hours, and honestly, with the big grip on it, it wasn't too bad to hold, and I really sort of, like I said, had so much fun. But I have another back and kind of show you how it works. This back is in need of repair, so but I'm just going to use it to sort of demo how things work inside here. On this side of the back, you have this little knob that opens up, and you would turn that, and then this is where the film is loaded. I don't have the dark slide in here, but I just wanted to show you sort of how the workings were of it. So what you would do is you move this film loading spool. You would move that, let me get this out here, you would move that up here, okay, and then you would load your new roll of film onto this side, and then you would spool the film around this this plate here, and you'd have to get it underneath this little metal tab. I don't know if you can see that or not, but you have to make sure that the film is underneath that tab. Yeah, you can loosen the tab up by turning this knob here, and then when you're ready to clamp it down and put it back in the camera, you would turn that again. That kind of locks everything down. Then you feed the film through here, and you would wind it up, and that would get the film spooled through. And then once you're ready to go, you take that whole assembly and you insert it back into the film back, and then put it back onto the camera. Actually, before you do that, sorry, one crucial step is you need to wind on your film here on the back until you get this number 1, which is on your film counter, and this white dot. This white dot lets you know that things are ready to go, and you can now put it on your camera, and then you can go here and just move your lever back there. You would take your film box or any kind of a note to tell you what film you're putting in here, and you slip it back here and close that up, and then boom, put it on the camera, you're ready to go. So so that's that. Again, this is the Hasselblad EL. I don't know what else to tell you about it. It's really cool. This one actually has been modified. I'll show you. Actually, I'll show you one more thing. This one has been modified to take AA batteries, which is kind of neat. The original EL came set up to use rechargeable batteries, and the rechargeable batteries were they were somewhat problematic, and they would well, at least at the time. Actually, I don't know if I have a coin here. Let's see if I can, hold on one second. So you take a coin and you open up the back here, or the side of the base of the unit, and there are these adapters that have been slipped in there. It's actually, this looks like it might even be factory. I don't know. I can't tell. I don't know if it's a factory thing or not, but it takes the AA's, which is kind of neat. So yeah, just load it up with AA batteries and you're ready to go. And then you just put the cover back on, and then lock it into place, and you are ready to then rock and roll, my friends. So anyway, new favorite camera at the moment. Actually, I'll show you the other one in a few minutes, but or in the next video. But Hasselblad EL, very cool camera. I'm really enjoying it. Haven't had so much fun on with a camera in a long time. So any questions, comments, concerns, excuse me, please let me know. If anything was wrong, of course, correct it, and let me know I was wrong. Brian, you're an idiot. Whatever. But anyway, I'm having a blast with this. I highly recommend it. And the ELs can be had actually cheaper generally than the other cameras, so because they're bigger and clunkier looking. But I'm kind of big and clunky looking, so I guess it's a perfect match. So anyway, that's it. Brian, old cam review. Thanks for watching, guys. Much more to come. Thank you.